Your bones are popping out today.
So I'm very excited to see you. It is an evolution. No arrow compares to me. I'm a pianist and musician first and foremost. Worship yourself. Well, I'm obsessed with pop culture. The show must go on.
You are on the record with Fuse.
It's so nice to be back. I love Fuse so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Happy to have you. If there's a mood board for Born This Way, for the whole album, what would be on the board?
Well, musically, it is a mixture of very dark and heavy sledgehammering beats. I really have become quite strong and very aggressive and fearless and brave, and that is reflected in the music. I was so inspired by stadium rock. So these songs are very epic, but the subject matters are quite joyful. Like my previous work, shares sort of this yin and yang of dark and light, which is very much my personality, in tandem with the album cover. Half motorcycle, half on the ride, and half woman, living halfway between reality and fantasy all times. I'd like to almost describe the album as a fantasy techno rock.
Yeah, it's very techno, very Eastern European, very dancey club, high energy.
Thank you.
That's what excites you right now.
Yes, it's what I'm inspired to make, and I'm just very drawn towards really strong metaphors like Judas or a hair. One of the songs on the album, I write about how when I was young, I used to get yelled at by my parents to go back upstairs and change, and you can't go out wearing that, and how my hair and my identity was all the glory that I had as a young person, and going out with my friends was the only time I felt like I could truly express myself.
What about Government Hooker?
Oh, I love that song. So we started out with this very French, dark hip-hop beat. So we made it really, really fast. And it took on this completely new energy. And I've been sonically really wanting to push from 4 on the floor. It's a little bit of a different approach than I've taken in the past. There's a voice in the background when I'm singing, as long as I'm your hooker. And then the government says, back up and turn around. How much are you willing to be a puppet and a hooker, and how much more do you want to fight for what you believe in?
You're so much about liberation now and giving self-esteem and giving people freedom and the comfort to do what you want to do. Just let your freak flag fly. And you're talking about that in Born This Way. You know, God makes no mistakes. I mean, what a great line that is. Like, be whoever you want to be.
I think that's a really powerful lyric. But what's nice about that statement is it sort of annihilates any judgment, annihilates any prejudice right off the bat, and ultimately puts hope in something that is much greater. And you define beauty for yourself. The public does not define it for you. Society doesn't define your beauty. Your spirit and your faith defines your beauty.
The title, Born This Way, makes me immediately think about gay ideology. It's not a choice that you make, but this is just who you are. So, you know, how are you judging me, right? That's what you're
That's certainly part of it. Social justice is one of the most paramount things I think about every day on a daily basis, and thinking about, now that I have this voice, what is it that I want to say? Born This Way, yes, it addresses those issues. I do believe that the LGBT community was born this way. I don't believe it is a choice. I don't believe that those in that community should be treated as less valuable by the government or by religion. These are absolute issues that I attack with Born This Way on that particular song and on some of the other songs on the record. But more importantly, what I would like to sort of challenge everyone to think about with a song like Born This Way is it's not just about the gay community, it's about everyone.
Right, of course.
And we don't have to create divisiveness when it comes to social justice. Let's all be together. Let's fight on equally. Equality cannot be reached if it's fought for in a divisive way. That is what Born This Way is all about.
When you go to the Monsters Ball and it's like a motivational sort of speech, I wonder are there things that happened to you as a kid that made you feel like, I want to stand up for the person who I felt like?
Well, I certainly wasn't part of the in crowd. I had, you know, my group of friends, but I got bullied and I got made fun of. I remember going to gym class one day and there was all kinds of profanity written all over my gym locker. Just mine. And it just said the most horrendous, awful things, ranging from sexual orientation to race, to religion, to social status. And it sticks with you and it hurt. And I went home and I cried and I didn't want to go to school. And I felt like in some way I was less valuable. And those stories and those memories that haunt me are what propel me into my relationship with my fans now. But the album is also really fun, you know.
It is.
I don't want to harp on the seriousness of the record too much, because I do want people to know that liberation through fun and through togetherness and through celebration of life is also part of what the record is about.
The fun part of the record, the upbeat, glorious part of the record, like they played me Edge of Glory, and they said Gaga watched her grandfather and her grandmother together, right? Your grandfather's last moments, and they're holding hands, and then he passed away. And it's this very upbeat, joyous song.
Celebration.
And I expected a ballad to come out of that.
I actually wrote part of the song before we got there, knowing he was going to pass, and then I finished the lyrics and finished the melodies after experiencing that moment. And
but why did you create a happy, upbeat song?
Because his life was glorious.
Yeah.
And because life is glorious. And when I saw my grandpa pass with my grandmother, what I saw was him looking into her eyes and saying, I won. I'm a champion at life. You and I kicked life's ass. The second verse is another shot before we kiss the other side tonight. I'm on the edge of something final we call life tonight. I believe that right before you kiss the other side, your life not necessarily flashes before you, but rather honors you and tips its hat and says, you did a good job. So the Edge of Glory is about rejoicing and living every moment as if it's your last.
I see this sonic arc in what you've done in terms of the fame was sort of American pop records, and then you did Bad Romance, and it seems like the road that you are now with these Eastern European big techno-y records sounds like it's coming out of what you started with Bad Romance. Was that a sort of seminal or breakthrough record for you?
There was a lot of sort of eyebrow raising when we put that record out, because it was so different from what I had done on the Fame. But what was wonderful is once the fight was over and once we pushed forth, Bad Romance became the biggest song of my career. The album did grow out of the Fame monster, and ultimately I wanted to create an album that I knew when it was played live, it would be something that would contribute and enhance the religious pop cultural experience of the Monster Ball, which is my home.
Well, you definitely create a sense of people wanting to worship you in terms of giving them a complete pop star.
But I want them to worship themselves. What I hope everyone sees is different about me is I would rather that you are inspired by my ability to transform and liberate myself through pop culture and through music, and then in turn liberate yourself.
I see that. I've been to the Monsters Ball, and I do see you saying, don't worship me, but worship you. You can do it. You can be the person you want to be. And at the same time, half the crowd is looking exactly like you in one of your videos, so they are worshiping you at the same time you're telling them, be you, do whatever you want to do.
Well, that's also part of the fun of the show, and the whimsical nature of the Monster Ball is it's not really a concert. It's much more of a cultural experience and a party, and it's a conversation back and forth, and that is where my music grows from. Having this intense, beautiful relationship with them and then saying, I have to take it a step further. I have to be a warrior for pop music. I have to be willing to take arrows, willing to take a beating, willing to take bullets, and know, please know, as my fans, that my heart will always keep beating. No arrow can pierce me.
Old saying that you have your whole life to make your first record. Nobody's waiting for the fame. You're making Born This Way. The whole world is waiting to see what you're gonna do. So talk about the difference between making sort of an album when you're under a microscope and the world is waiting for the record, as opposed to, when you're kind of making it in peace.
In peace? Listen, I was never making anything in peace. And first of all, there's no difference. I'm still an artist, I'm still making music, and I don't create based on reaction. My relationship with my fans is not reactionary. That is something that is symbiotic. At the same time, it's completely organic, and we move like a amoeba across the pastures of culture in peace. If you think I wrote The Fame in peace, you have a strong misconception about what I have been through to get to where I am today. The fight, being dropped by record labels, being told I was too strange, being told that the music was too dance. The fight that I have been through is not in peace. And I wrote record after record until finally Just Dance occurred. And then it wasn't in peace. I had to fight for a year, tooth and nail, blood, sweat, and leather every night. No sleep. Bus, club, another club, plane, next place. No sleep, no fear, nobody believed in me. That album was not made in peace. That album was made with the eye of the tiger, and so was this one. There's not going to be some transformation in me that will assimilate to Hollywood, and I will suddenly push my tits up in a bra and put on mascara and put out my second record. The good news is I'm very hard on myself, and I'm always pushing myself to move forward. And I'm very excited and happy and feel blessed that everyone's waiting to hear Born This Way. And I want to make people rejoice and celebrate who they are as much as I can. The album is identity as religion, pop culture as religion. Worship yourself.
How do you write a song?
I have a memory bank in my Gaga robot, and they open up my back and then they press write song. I write music all the time. Sometimes when I'm falling asleep, I hear melodies, or I think of an idea, or we'll see an image or something very graphic for a performance, and I get inspired. And other times I just sit at the piano and play. I have these sort of 15-minute moments where I'll just vomit all these ideas and melodies and beats. And then after that 15 minutes is over, I have to honor that regurgitation for the next 6 months.
What does that honor your vomit mean?
When you regurgitate all that creativity and you regurgitate all of those ideas and you vomit all of the most personal and vulnerable things about yourself, when it's over, don't be afraid. Honor what you've done and just fine-tune it and make it better. So you have to honor your creativity, because the minute you don't honor your creativity, it'll tell you to f*** off, and it won't come to dinner anymore.
What is the percentage of songs that you write that you use versus songs that you end up not using?
Most of the songs that I wrote are on the album or on the special edition of the record.
But that's 20 songs, right? On the special edition?
Yes, but it has about 5 remixes.
But you write every day. So
there were maybe a few songs that didn't make it. If I don't feel like it's moving in the way that I want it to move, I just abort mission.
In 2 years of touring and your life changing so much from being this person who has to fight to get heard to a person who the whole world is coming to you and saying, we want to hear everything you have to say. And
but I still have to fight to be heard. Just because people are listening doesn't mean they understand
of course
what it is that you're saying. My dad always says to me his favorite thing about my work is that I say something, and if you don't understand what I've said, I say it again. And if the second time you didn't quite get it, I do it again, and I do it in a different way. And I say it over and over and over until suddenly everyone gets it. And I remember the first couple of nights of the Monster Ball, there was a whole lot of this going on in the audience, but it's about perseverance, and it's about surging forward. And then here we are 2 years later, over 210 sold out shows.
Wow.
That's why I always tell my fans, don't give up on who you are. Don't ever stop, because I feel that way every day.
You are being yourself here, right? But at the same time, Gaga is a creation. It's something that you...
I'm self-created.
Yes, absolutely. It's just an interesting contrast to me to when you say born this way, right? You were not born this way. You self-created Gaga, and then you come out with born this way, and I'm kind of like, okay, but you're not actually, right?
In the literal interpretation of born this way, any artistic expression would sort of not stand a chance when it comes to your identity. Something as simple as makeup on a lady. You can say, you weren't born this way. In the Born This Way video, and in my expressions with fashion and technology, the vessel on the Grammys, Rebirth, I am challenging in my own way your idea of what it means to be born this way. Your idea of what it means to be born. Is birth finite, or is it infinite? Does it happen once, or does it happen over and over again throughout your life? And do you have control over it? Can you be reborn? I believe that you can be reborn over and over again.
Because some of your other videos, through multiple viewings, seem to unlock themselves much more. And that one, I'm sort of like, what is she saying?
Yes, I do think that video went over some people's heads. It is about birth being something that is continuous. It is about creating a fantasy, a surrealist painting. The video was inspired by Salvador Dali and Francis Bacon and metal.
And Fritz Lang?
There was a bit of Fritz Lang. And in the video, I give birth to my fans, the new race. It's all different colors, all different beliefs, all different backgrounds. But the race bears no prejudice and only boundless freedom. But then I say that on the same day that goodness was created, evil also came into the world. And how do you protect good without evil?
If your fans are the good, who is the evil?
Well, it's not necessarily just about the fans. It's about everyone. The fans are my symbol of the potential of secular thinking in the future, because my fans are so secular in the way that they think, and are so open, and are so free, and so accepting. The evil is those that close doors, and the good is those that open them. With this album, I would like to help open the doors and not close them.
Thank you, sweetheart. It's
Thank
lovely
you.
to see you again.
Thank you so much.